Well, here we go, first ride out on my new to me checkpoint. Yeah. Doing what a checkpoint should do, being on a bit of a track. Gonna head up here and over the hill and just do a quick, not at all ambitious, little circuit round at home for my first ride out on it, see how we get on. I'm blessed to live in some cool places. Well, blessed to live in the Cambridgeshire countryside. First impressions, definitely those wider tyres running at a lower pressure are smoother on the ride, that's for sure. And the electronic shifting is working okay. Never tried it before. Seems to be topped. Here we go then. That actually feels very cool. Oh, I can see why people enjoy this with no traffic. Around we go, up to the top of the hill. Well, we don't really have hills in Cambridgeshire, but this is what counts for one here. Well, can't complain about this. It's pretty much just the ticket. Probably exactly what it was designed for. Well, this kind of thing. Well, so far so good. I'm sort of just approaching my second mile on my checkpoint, and I think I'm going to like it. But I'm not giving up on the other bikes. I don't know where it's come from really, this passion for enthusiasm for cycling. I bought my first road bike in 2019 from an old army mate, Mark Stickland, Big Vern. And I think I paid all of £185 for it, an old Trek 2.3 Alpha, and that bike was a saviour for me during COVID lockdown, and ended up locally, of course, not going far from home, but getting some exercise and cycling, building up my cycling endurance a bit here and there, and really just help keep my head straight, let's say. And then kept that bike, still got it, don't think I'll ever sell it. Then at work over in Baghdad, worked pretty good. I mean, I love the work and the people that I work with. Lots of stresses at home. Lost my father a couple of years ago and lost my sister last year. Lost a few friends at work. I guess we're just at that age where cancer, the old dread disease, starts to take its toll. And again, cycling saved me really. Get on that bike, go and get some exercise. I think the blood moving around is good for you. Endorphins are good for you. And if you're cycling gently, you can enjoy the scenery. And if you're cycling hard, there's not a lot of thoughts can enter your head other than just keep pushing those pedals. So worked up some decent mileage really, given that I lived on a little compound in the middle of Baghdad that was about 0.8 of a mile all the way around. I sort of worked up and worked up. I did a century ride there last year, and then spring of this year ended up doing a double century, which I started at midnight. It gets quite warm there, so I thought I'd start at night, and it takes me a long time. Not cycling, but just pushing the wheels around. I managed to get 200 miles in. I think it's about 18 hours of cycling, but with breaks to feed and cool down, it did get quite warm. Took me the best part of, well, I finished at 9:30, I think 10 o'clock that night. So 22 hours. No prizes for athleticism, but it shows some enjoyment. And I have a good mate, Wayne Harris, a good mate. He's an old army mate, and the people you served with will be your friends forever. So Wayne is a record-winning, record-breaking cyclist. He's missing a few toes from the knee down. Managed to, I think it's Guinness World Records at the velodrome. And he's got himself into endurance cycling, and I've been tracking with great interest his progress on things like the Via Appa, which he keeps entering. And those are 3,000, 4,000 mile races. And I thought, well, if Wayne can do that with one leg, why am I being idle with two? So kind of looking towards doing some endurance races next year. I'm hoping to build my endurance and my fitness up. I've been training quite hard the last 6 months, managed to lose best part of 25 kilos through restricting my diet a bit, but also training pretty much every day. And we all need long-term goals, and my long-term goal is to hit 60 as fit as I can be, 60 in December next year, with ambition to do some proper endurance events when I hit 60 in 20, when's that going to be, 2027. But we all need short-term and interim goals. So I cycled London Geneva a couple of years ago on my trusty old trek and did that in, I think, 8-9 days. Went with a mate this year, only in August time. We did it. We left on Monday from London. He left from home up in the Fens, mad as a box of frogs. Well, I left from London and we got to Geneva on Friday afternoon, Friday evening. So that was quite a good effort. And we weren't riding an Audax pace. We weren't riding, and we weren't roughing it. You know, we weren't riding 20 hours a day, but we were riding like 12 hours a day, an easy 12 hours a day. He was, and I was riding a bit longer because I'm slower. But still averaged, I think we averaged like 150 miles a day on the 4 days that we were on the continent, which was good going. And next up, I'm hoping to do Gibraltar to Bury St Edmunds next year. Gibraltar being where my regiment, Royal Anglian Regiment, then, oh, I can't remember, you know, this is embarrassing, I can't tell you which of our predecessor regiments were stationed in Gibraltar, but we were there for years and years and years. So I have strong affiliation with Gibraltar and the Gibraltar Regiment. And I'm going to try and ride the, 1,500 miles or so from Gibraltar to Bury St Edmunds, and try and do it in, well, if I can average 120 miles a day, I'll be happy with that. So there you go. It's for me, it's about having some long-term goals to work towards and some interim goals that are near enough for you to be able to motivate you while you're training. And certainly in June, July, the thought of doing that trip to London Geneva kept me going to the gym regularly. Matt is, my old mate Matt is 10 years younger than me and a damn sight fitter. And I knew I'd never get fit enough to beat him, not that it was competitive, but I wanted to be fit enough to not be crying at the back for 5 days. And I think we just about managed to achieve that. The combination of my fitness and his patience were just adequate enough for us to meet happily in the middle. Well, that's us off the track and onto the road down to Watford. I quite enjoyed that. It's been quite steady, sedate. Not used to riding a one by. I'm sure I'll get used to it. Not used to a noisy hub either. I'm not sure I'll get used to that. I've always enjoyed making videos, but I find the pain is then compiling it into something that anybody wants to watch or that you have time to edit. It's very easy to come back from a trip away with 25 hours of video and absolutely no interest in spending 25 hours at a desk putting it all together into something worthwhile. What makes for compelling footage? I guess we'll find out, won't we? Hey? So I've gone from one bike, that old Trek 2.3 Alpha, which I had from 2019 through till spring this year. Started to go a bit further and look for something a bit more interesting. Not that, no, that's unfair to say. The Trek is a great bike. I just wanted to try something new. And I found a titanium, a Linsky Lightspeed titanium road bike on eBay, and I put in a bid for it and I won it. And I felt disloyal to my Trek. I did, but no, I wanted to try something new. That bike, that Linsky, is just remarkably light. I've not had, because I've been working away so much, I've not had much time to try it, but it is a super light bike. Last time I came home from work, I went out on it, just knocking around, going to go to the GP, go to the bank, get a haircut, that kind of thing. And everywhere I went, I set PBs on it, personal bests on my previous trips over the same route. So just a really light, cracking, responsive bike. And I do like it a lot. And I think if I had a Sunday best bike, it would be that Linsky, just for fun. I then bought a Trek Domani, because everybody apparently has to have a Domani in their life at some stage. And if you look at all those cycling videos out there, they will tell you that you might want a racing bike, but what you really need is a Trek Domani. So I went and bought one, another eBay find, and I have to say I've only ridden it a couple of times and it's been fine. but I have to say I don't feel like I love it. Maybe I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just a bit anodyne, a bit sort of grey. Anyway, I'm not going to get rid of it. I'll keep using it. I'll put mud guards on it, and I've set it up as my winter bike. So that was bike number 3. That was a decent deal. And then while I was away at work, I booked in for the tracker next year. I'm doing the short one. It'll be my first gravel race ever. So it's only is it 100k, only 60 miles. And I convinced myself that I needed a bike for that. Hence buying this checkpoint. So this was a good deal. I was never drinking eBay. I was at work looking at stuff on eBay, having had a couple of scoops, and I put a let him go past. I put a bid in on this, which I thought he'll never accept, and never thought anything more about it. Woke up the next day, didn't think anything about it, until that night had an email saying, I think it was saying, or looking at my bank statement, thinking, Christ, that's a bit short, to realise that I bought this thing. And actually I couldn't be more delighted. I suppose the hardest part about buying it was telling my wife that there was going to be a box turning up at the weekend that might or might not contain a bicycle. The fact that it turned up with a big Trek sign on the side might have given the game away. Anyway, she's forgiven me and she's happy, so here we are, testing it out. And so far, so good. Nice still day. There we go. Well, it seems to go in a fair lick. Happy with that, really. Here we go. Here's a little turn that catches everybody out in the winter, including my son, who ended up upside down about there. With all of his mates in their little car, but they're all fine, and that's the main thing. I'd say stable, nice bike. Too easy. Yep, we like that. There we go then. That is quite a cool bike. I like that. That'll do.